Morning. Trying to find a good position for the camera and failing. I think that's okay. There we go, put it over there. Well, here we go. Not doing very well this morning. Early for me. What is it? Almost 8 o'clock. It's December the 14th, and I'm dropping the KONA into Spirit Hyundai in Northampton for them to check the battery on the safety recall that Hyundai have issued. So we shall see how we get on. So this isn't very exciting of me driving there, so I'll just show you a bit of footage of that. And checking in, I've got a loan car, not sure what that'll be. I think it'll have an engine of the internal combustion type rather than electric. I'd be surprised if it's electric. I'd like electric, but yeah, it might be a bit noisy on the way home in a nice car. And yeah, hopefully by the end of the day we'll know what if there is a problem with this battery. Anyway, stay tuned and I'll give you an update later. So car dropped in for its recall, and they're going to give me a ring when it's done. The loan car is another KONA Electric, which I'm very surprised at. So yes, well done. Hooray, an electric, which is really nice. So we're like for like. Catch you later.
Woo, text message.
Hello, my name's Rob. I'm your Hyundai trained technician working on your vehicle today. As part of our service here at Spirit Hyundai, I've carried out a complimentary vehicle health check on your car. Based upon my inspection, there are no items that require immediate attention at this time. A service advisor will be in contact with you shortly, and thank you very much for using Spirit Hyundai today.
Woo, text message.
Just had a text to say that our KONA is ready. So that's the higher low courtesy car that I've been having. All very familiar. Gonna get in, take my phone out of my pocket. So yes, going back to collect it, drop this one off. This is a very bright colour. Had some sunshine this morning. Been able to charge the car. Let's put the seatbelt on. There's lots of beeps in this. I think it's there's a dash cam up here, next base dash cam, which makes lots of additional noises. Right, so we're all charged up and ready to go. I'm going to shut this down and I will see you when I've picked up the new one and let you know what's what. All right, see you in a bit. Okay, back in my car. I've done the swap over, so I've given back the courtesy car and back in mine. Check to see what had happened. So I spoke to the lady at the desk. She gave me a copy of the vehicle health check report, which I didn't really look at in too much detail because I'd seen it before and I knew it was sort of covering just the basic stuff in terms of tyres and what have you. So I asked them what they'd actually done on the recall because that was of interest to me. And she said that they'd updated the ESP, which I didn't know what that was, so I had to ask, which is the traction control and stability control. And they'd also updated the BMS software, which I knew was battery management software. And they'd also done the in-cable control box. She said that's the cable that you plug into the car. So I was thinking, I don't know. Didn't really register with me, but when I came home I checked in the boot, and that's basically what this is here. They've put a plastic box around the in-car charging cable, the granny one. For some reason I've got no idea why. Perhaps it gets hot, but yeah, hardly a big thing. But yeah, the recall is for the battery management software. So I thought, well, I'll check to see what the firmware or the software version is in the car, because I checked before I put the car in for the recall. I'll bring that up on screen. And I also checked afterwards, and they're exactly the same. The software version and the firmware version is exactly the same in the car. So I would have thought if they've updated the battery management software, it would show by a change in the firmware version. Well, interrupting my video edit, because I found a bit more information while I was editing the video. The bits I've just been talking about, the infotainment screens, the firmware and the software, are only to do with the infotainment systems and maps, and actually nothing to do with the actual firmware of the car. So unlike the Tesla, when you know what version of the software it's on, this is purely for the infotainment system, apparently. And I learned that from the EV forums, so that was useful. So a little bit of an update there. And they're also saying that you don't actually know, there's nowhere on the car that tells you that the BMS software has actually been updated. So a little bit of an omission in my opinion. But it still doesn't help in terms of knowing whether the problem's been resolved and how I get notified and what have you. So still left a bit hanging. It just seems there's no information from the dealers about what's going on, what's the problem, and has it been fixed. It's very very poorly communicated and explained to people, and you have to rely on doing your own research and looking on forums and owner groups and things like that, which is it's fine, but it should really come from the horse's mouth. Anyway, a quick update, back to the video. So I'm undecided whether it's actually been done. I'm guessing it has, because they say they have done it, but I've got no indication to say it has, apart from it just being indicated here on the top of this form to say that it's been done under code 01D0176, which is battery management software logic upgrade. So yeah, we shall see. I have actually emailed Hyundai directly to ask them the question, should the version numbers of the firmware or the software update when the battery management software has been upgraded. So yeah, we shall see what Hyundai say. I'll let you know once I know. So they're the changes, apparently. Battery management software, a plastic case for the charger, and ESP has been updated, which really isn't anything to do with the recall. I think it's just a coincidence that it needed to be done, and it was booked in for a recall. Okay, thanks for watching, and as always, like, subscribe, all those good things, comment down below, and I will see you on the next one. All right, take care. Bye.